Hey, what's up, and welcome to my corner of the internet. So, it's been a while. Well, not really in this like stream of me making videos, but this video in particular it's been a while. But anyway, like I guess we're back. We're back on doing what we love talking about, books. At least one of the other things I love talking about. It's been a bit of a while. Where we left off was I was finishing The Giver. I was finishing a couple other books, but those are important because I pretty much finished that. It's time to talk about some other books, and this is going to be consistent every week. At least I'm going to try to, for the most part. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best trying to pump out a bunch of stuff, but hey, whatever. So we're back like we never left. And also, you see, I wear the same flannel and I also shaved. So good and bad things are going on. Well, none of that was bad. But anyway, so Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. This book was weird. This book was weird in the way that there was probably a lot of things that I just didn't understand. Like, she's somewhat of a murderer, our main character. She's incredibly dislikable, manipulative. She is not a nice person. And of course, since she like hurts people, she's not a nice person. But when I mean she is not a good person, the way she treats her best friend and the way her best friend just kind of goes along with it because she obviously has an affinity for her that is beyond normal friendship, and how she plays and just jokes and plays around with that. And man, what she did to that poor innocent boy she met, this book is a lot. And I didn't necessarily enjoy it. It's not a bad book. It's just I came off at the end of it wondering, what was the point of all this? So basically, our main character is an artist, a photographer who went through art school. She's kind of like, I guess, washed up. She kind of like didn't continue to grow, and she's into more sexually charged, a bit more nudity in a very like striking and, let's just say, provocative way. And she goes through the motions throughout this book, and she deals with all sorts of people, and she's a woman and she has her own basis of understanding. And there's a lot of things that I understand that this book is meant to like have social commentary on, but she is not a good person. Like, she is not the vibe. Like, I will just say that. And this book, it had some very raw language. It was very striking. Definitely 18 plus. Like, if you are below 18, don't read this. This book is a lot. And and I tried my best to wrap my head around it. It was an interesting adventure. It was interesting. I'll give you that. It was incredibly interesting, and there's probably a bit more things to it, but it was just not an enjoyable read. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I enjoyed that I read it. It was just like, hey, man. You know what's the great thing about reading books is you randomly just run into something. I'm at that weird point of my taste where I will like and try anything at this point. At this point in time, if you say, hey, you should try reading this, I will try reading it, man. That is just where I am with this. I will try, I will give an attempt, and anything can just come into my life. Sorry, that was a weird burp. Anyway, other book that I read is Born to be Hanged, and another YouTuber recommended it to me, and I love this book. I'm a sucker for pirates, and it was very real stories. These guys were daring, they were magical, they were idiots. Like, oh my god. But then again, you know what's the funny thing is the facts that came in this book. Did you know that to cure, or they tried to cure syphilis, they would put mercury inside of your genitalia, hoping you could pee it out? That is an insane fact when you really think about that. Think about old medicine. Old medicine is wild, fam. Like, but this book was so cool because like these are real historic events, and these characters did so many cool things. And of course, horrible people that did horrible things. I will never tell you that. But the freedom that came, and then somehow when they would just finesse it into working for their country and like plundering, it's so interesting to think about how back then there was such a play with the idea of morality. These are men that were considered less than, horrible people, and some of these guys were turned into Navy admirals. Some of these guys got positions that were powerful after the fact. And this book was a ride. The stories were cool. They were funny. The way it was written was so matter of fact and so in such a way that made you interested in each and every chapter. And the facts that would come and these characters and the historical journals. Imagine being a pirate and doing a successful raid and then writing about it in your journal. And of course, we have some unreliable accounts of what happened within the story, and that is hilarious. This was a really good book, and if you're a fan of pirates, you should definitely check it out because it is a vibe. And it's just cool to see what dangerous, reckless things people were getting into, because that's kind of like the moral of what happened in life. Like, someone had to do something dangerous to get to where they were. And history was just so interesting. I don't know if I would have survived, but I knew it would have been a vibe, though. It would have been a vibe, though. It would have been a vibe. Anyway, quick commercial break. As we wait. Okie dokie. So we're back. And where we are currently is I'm struggling to read a book that is long. And long books don't really bother me. They're just books that are just like, they take a while. And one such book that took me a bit of a while and is continuing to take me a bit of a while is Haruki Murakami's, I keep saying 1984 because that's really what it is, but it's 1Q84. And this book is throwing me for a loop. It is a good book. It is written in the same way, in the same style that Murakami is basically into, like a bit of surrealism, the way his magic is not explained but kind of explained. Like, we accept things as they are. It's a part of the world instead of just something that happens inside of the world that needs some sort of explanation. It's very surrealist. It has this way of being otherworldly without being outside of our world. I guess that's the best way I'm trying to say it. And I like the book. I like a lot of the story. I do genuinely enjoy Murakami's books because they're weird. They're weird in just some really weird ways. Like, I've read quite a few of his books, and I understand the hype. I understand the enjoyment of him because it's just different. You'll be surprised at what he could write a chapter about, and you'll be like, really? And you'll just accept it for what it is because, hey, man, it's just packaged in such a way, and like the way things can be said, the way stories happen, it's just interesting, man. And I'm struggling with this book because he will have a certain character view, and this is a book with multiple perspectives. We follow Tango Aomame. Aomame is basically an assassin that's basically a yoga instructor, martial arts instructor, basically self-defense instructor. And then we have Tango, who is a writer, an aspiring writer who basically is an ultra-talented kid who becomes a bit of a math teacher and ends up writing a book for this girl. And I'm not going to give you any more than that. Well, helps co-write this book. And the book is incredibly interesting. If you enjoy books where it just gets weird and the story just follows through on being weird, this is the vibe. It's just I'm struggling. There's a current character perspective that literally just reiterates what another character perspective just went through, and it gets a little annoying, I'm not going to lie to you. And some of the chapters just drone on, and there's one character where we continually just talk about how ugly he is, and it's like, okay, we get it. He's not the most commercially viable character. Can we move on and like actually get to the point of the plot? It just feels like padding. Some of these chapters definitely could be cut from this book. But next time I make this video, hopefully I'll be done with it. So I finished, in the meantime, Pendragon. Pendragon is the one book as a child that I read one of the books out of order. As a kid, I was classic for reading books out of order. Didn't care. I would read it, be like, oh, wait, this is the third, and would not care, not even think about it. It wouldn't even come to mind. But Pendragon is a vibe. One thing that was like shocking was how violent some of these books are. At least me thought it was violent. Like, I was like, whoa, this is some expressive, very deep thought within some of these books. And I see why it's such a great and like heralded book series and why it continued to have a lot of different books. Like, I'm looking at the back right now, and there's 9 books in this. I'm so excited to read this. I have the second one. I just haven't started it yet. I think that's probably next after Harakami Murakami's. And it's going to be paired with another book that I'm currently reading. I love this book. Pendragon is an interesting story. I love the way it's written, though I wish it was first person. Personally, for me, because I love the honesty of Bobby, our main character. And I love the mystery. I love a lot of the things that were left off. And I love the twists within this book. These books have really good twists. And it feels like a bit of like a Percy Jackson type thing where the story is told, but we don't necessarily know what's going to happen. And I love that. And so next up is, maybe this will break someone's heart. Maybe it won't. Maybe no one will care. But the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was not a vibe for me. I'm going to be honest with you. Some things were funny. Not going to hold you. Some things were funny. But not everything was funny to me. It wasn't like the laugh out loud story I thought it was. It kind of had things happen randomly, and I get it. It's an absurdist book, and I do enjoy that. It's just, it did not do what I thought it. Maybe I had no expectations, or maybe I had a little. Because it's notoriously talked about as being one of the funnier books, one of the more enjoyable books, but it was okay to me. It was just a wild adventure. Maybe I'm going to read the second one and see what happens. I don't know. It was a quick read, so it's probably going to end up getting picked up for the second book, but I don't know, man. It just wasn't like everything I thought it would be. I don't know. It seemed to be so celebrated that I was just like, there has to be something incredibly special. Maybe the humor just wasn't for me. It's a lot of like dry humor and like matter of fact saying that isn't necessarily funny to me. It's not a bad book. I would totally recommend it to anyone that's just interested in a quick, easy, fun ride that has a lot of random sprinkles of like knowledge and jokes that are kind of funny about like human life and like the circumstances that happen. It's a good book. Once again, you should read it just to see what it's all about. But I don't know. It wasn't like, I didn't feel the same way everyone else felt. It's still a good book though. And this is pretty much the book video. I'm sorry for taking a while to talk about more books, but I kept reading. Only now I'm not like reading as much. I'm like really trying to get through this Murakami book. And this is going to be weekly. Hold me to it. But I did enjoy the experience of continuing to read these books, and I continue to buy more books, which I'm going to talk about probably like next week. So I appreciate you. Thank you for watching, and we back like we never left. And so have a great day. Take care of yourself. Enjoy this weather, depending on where you are, because some weather sucks somewhere. And thank you for watching. Have a great day. Peace.